It's finally cooled off enough. I'm gonna go ahead and try taking this apart so we can start doing some of the detailing. I'm not sure why this is here. Guess they wanted the door open at least partially. But we're gonna start doing some of the more cosmetic stuff now. To do that, I think I'm gonna start with taking this part off right here. Little wing nuts. They have actual washers back down here, or nuts. These are actually bolts. What this will do is enable me to take the handle off. There for now. We may or may not have to adjust the camera for. So the handle comes first. That's part of it. Boy, that's in there tight. Come on. Maybe over here. Wiggle this a little bit more. Nothing holding that in. There we go. Now, this cable right here is for the brake. And that is for, of course, pull cord for the recoil. Which is where it's going to get fun. Some stuff over. Okay. Actually, I can go ahead and release the recoil for now. I would do the same for the brake, but it's got all these zip ties and stuff holding it on there. I don't really want to deal with that. I don't have to. That's what we're actually going to do. I'm going to put this back in here so I don't lose our nuts that are in here for now. Might have to remove it later, that's okay. At least everything will be in its place. The next step is going to actually remove the motor from the deck so I can just work on the deck alone without having to deal with all the cords and stuff. I'm going to verify you guys are actually recording still. Open this door a little bit so the cold can still get in here. Alright. That's just driving me nuts. I'll have to put that back. Careful where it's connected right to this hook. Around the inside of this and through the muffler. I'm saying that so that I can put it back later. Because that is a deal breaker kind of thing for them. I can see that that has a lot of tension. Putting this over here with the rest of these things, the blade and such. Alright. Grab our boards. Not the most ideal setup, but I'll do my best not to tip it too much. The motor, I mean. Okay. Find a good spot in here. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be able to. Yeah. Not on the smooth surface. That's okay. I think it'll be alright. The most thing I'm concerned with, pulling gas and all that and not leaking out, I think it'll be alright. Especially hurry enough. We're able. Alright, I'm going to be using the bigger sockets in this one, I think. This is the size you are. Way too big. Closer. 9/16. Almost. 1/2. I think it likes 1/2. Cool. It'll be a one-handed fun here. There we go. I'm gonna totally loosen it. Now, we gotta get this off there. They're not the happiest things on earth. Like Disney. Not sponsored, by the way. I don't know if you need to say it's not sponsored for things like that, but I'm just gonna, just in case. It's a little bit rough, but we got it. Here's the other one. Alright, we got that started. So now, we have to do the fun thing. This engine will go tumbling. First bolt I think I'm going to do is over here since we're leaning it that way. Just spilling some gas out, it looks like. Right at the moment. Be able to get that with the fingers. There's 2 bolts, and we'll have 1 to go. Oh, that one's going to be fun. That's the third one. So I'm going to move this over. Get off my arm. And we're going to find a good place for that motor. Not entirely sure yet. So, where do I know how I'm going to lift all this at once? That can go in here, something like that, and this can go right off. Alright, since I got it right here in my teeth, for now, I'm going to take this and these bolts, and I'm going to carefully put them back in here. Let's see if I can use these guys across there and carefully place this in the middle like that. Do with this handle. So now, leave that beefy. Whew, take a breath. Figure out what we'll be doing here. Nice and squeamy. hardest thing ever. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But any luck, that will hold it. For the time being. I'm gonna scoot it a little bit. Beefy back. And there somewhere. Adjust this board. There. Now we got that out of the way. That's one of the main things. And we can start looking at the actual deck. So, one of the things right in my teeth is this little gizmo. Let's check out the spring. Yeah, the spring is... I'll adjust that in a minute. Alright, I smell gas. I probably spilled gas somewhere. It's hard to tell, I don't see any down here. Let's check Beefy. Maybe tipsy. Okay. It's probably from me leaning it. Alright. Now, I guess we'll do the back. Open up toolkit. Where did this? There it is. Annoying little thing. I'll put that right there for now. Let's go see. Let's try 10. That's pretty good. About 9. Yeah, too small. Alright. Maybe just want to do metric. Let's try 7/16. Too big. 3/8. Perfect. I'll actually use the extension. Why not? And we'll start taking this apart. Okay. There. That's there. 1, 2. Third one. I'm gonna go over here and do the same thing. I'm gonna check on the inside, but I don't think there's any bolts on the inside to hold that. Yeah, there's nothing. Okay. So there's some tipsy. So now what we're holding into is these little plastic grooves that fit into there. And take a little bit of brine. Let's see what we got. Let's try this. The edge a little bit. Get in there. There we go. That's that side. Now we need to do the other side. Okay. Repeating the same process. Lifting it up enough to get under there. And then it should just come right out. Just like that. Now, let me just pull that sucker out. A little bit of propane maybe. Careful propane. There we go. One side. Perfect. See all the crap that's built up in this thing over the years. But with that, we have one side ready to go outside and scrub down a little bit. Bigger chunks off. That side I think doesn't require that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put the screws in. Careful not to knock off too much of the junk. Alright, that was a lower. And sure. Just a little bit. Spin that reverse. Till we feel the thread drop, hopefully. No. There goes somewhere. I think, no, it's crooked, isn't it? Why? Yeah, it's a slot. Here. There it goes. Now we do the other side. Turn our attention to the other section. Which should be under here. Got one bolt right here. That's rust and stuff. Here's the other bolt. Not clearly visible, but it's there. Here's the other one. Should more over here. Nope. Alright, so we're looking at 4 bolts. I don't know if they're half or something smaller. Something smaller. Go for a 10 or 3/8. No, it doesn't like that either. 7/16. Too big. Alright. 10. Yeah, there's the 10. Almost always a 10. Okay, that was 10. Here it goes. Come on, man. Come on. That's really easy. That's for this one. Let's come here. rust. If I'm gonna get. Alright. That should enable us to remove this part. Is there another bolt hiding on me? There is. Look at that. Right there in the middle. Okay, excavate it. Some deep rust up in there. But lucky. Okay, fine. I'm sure. That is not gonna let go of there. I'll deal with that in a second. Let's see if we're free now. There it goes. Like that. And that's something. Alright. So we're ready to actually deal with that. Put it back in. May or may not end up replacing these. They're pretty bad. First, we're going to put it outside and brush it off. Which one of you are threaded? That one is. Looks like it's got a crack in the plastic there too. That might be why it was so loose. You may need to JB weld or get some. That's just splitting open. This is definitely not a happy one. Had some usage in its life, that's for sure. But that is this puppy right here. Set this down. We'll take a look at the rest of it. This is the deck, such as this. You can see the front part up in here. Definitely had some wear and tear on there. So, you see the full Monty there. Be able to see more after I brush it off a little bit. Oh, that little thing right there's got a bolt. You might be able to take it off just as it is. Maybe. Just maybe. Not sure about that. I need the extension. Jesus. Boy, you are on there. That must be steel welded to steel. Get all the paint off of it. Great, persuade a little bit with some WD-40. How much of that's actually going to get in there, but we can try. Jeez. Setting it down flat. Better dry, hopefully. There it goes. Music to my ears. Good job, my friend. It feels loose. Good job. And there's that. see how it rusted up in there. Back for now. I'll have to deal with that after we take this out and wipe it off with a brush. Alright, I'll meet you guys outside. Alright, welcome to the outside. Let's get started. Oh, I guess we can start with this little guy. Be right back. Alright, sorry about that. Some tools. I should put on my gloves. Should work. Alright, let's get back to it. Small one. Apart a little bit. I can actually use this one. Small wrench on there. Carefully just going over the surface of it, breaking stuff up. That should be good. Grab some water here. Quick dunk. It's only the first stage, so I'm just breaking stuff apart and cleaning out the bigger chunks. Something like that. Serious tension in there. Alright. Should be good enough. For this stage at least. Grab this here and make sure nothing obvious remains. Just for my ability. It's kind of rough. Stuff. So quickly rinse it off. And let me just set that to dry for a sec. Alright. And it's a real challenge. Try this brush off. Brush off the bigger pieces as we can. Whatever's loose. That's caked on. We'll address that in a minute. Really easy. Quick and fast. Okay, now we'll move it back in here with our chisel. So keep some of this other junk out of here. Alright, so let's brush this off. So for now, that should be alright. Take a look at that pile we got going down there. Oh, you can't. Let me readjust. There you go. My insanely growing pile down there. Turn your ring on. Don't want to use water on open metal to make it rust. Guess what? It's already rusted pretty bad, and in order to paint it or do anything with it, we have to clean it. So that is what we'll do. Where'd the little brushy brush go? I see bubbles and paint up here too. It's okay, we'll move on. Will be visible for me to touch up. Same thing here. There a little bit. And in here. Alright. Guess that's what I put around the same. So let's crap off. Yep, around the same. some adhesive down or something, I'm guessing. Too crazy here. It's such a painting. But if we don't get off the rest of the underparts paint, just gonna trap it in there and get worse and bubble out. See how it just glides over the paint that's actually good. The bubbly stuff is just up and off. All that rust under it. We're going to do our best to save it. Back out of there. Moving on. We got the whole spiel on the top. Now I move on to the rougher parts. Bottom. Pretty rough.
Hey, Kelly. I don't want to go up there, man. Say hello.
Hi.
I'm just trying to get a hold of Kelly. I don't want to call.
Bye-bye. I don't know.
Kelly.
See some bare metal there, that's good.
Kelly.
Alright, let's go.
It's much better. You can actually see some of the green paint. Wipe down. Quick rinse. Okay. Start dealing with bare metal. I'm gonna quick dry. add too much to the house. Alright, get this in view and see what we're working with. So see some of the chipping. That's a big bubble right there. I'll check into that more later. Inside is also a bit rough. The grass clippings are a bit acidic, so when they sit there caked on it, it will rust through the paint and everything else. So for now, I'm gonna find a spot for this to sit. Alright. Then we'll move on to, I guess this one, why not? See if we can get this a bit cleaner. Where's my towel? Alright. Oh yeah. Let's do some quick scrubby. Just enough to knock stuff loose. Some of the bigger parts. Big clumps of dirt. Completely clogged. That out, I think, to clean that much. I don't know how much this we're actually going to get off there, but I can try. How much is the answer? Not much at all. That won't stop me from trying. Relatively speaking. Oh, there's a critter in there. Look at that. Oh, there it is. Yikes. Big critter, whatever that is. Bye, big critter. Alright. Continue on. Great argument for having it outside. Now, about ready. There's nothing down in there. Near much until we get that bar out. So now we're moving on to actually trying to clean this thing with some water. It's a little less horrible than it was, which is excellent for going inside and doing this. Inside, you need to have less horrible. There we go. Do my brush. another one of those earwigs. Alright. That looks pretty good. A lot less, like I said, horrible. Looks like friends down here. Let's get that out of there. Less horrible clean water. This is going to be interesting. Alright, that's definitely less horrible. Yo! Mash my own finger. Okay. There we go. And that's what we're dealing with now. So we'll set that over here out of our way. And we'll move on to the final challenge. This one. See a nest of a critter in here. 5-foot long. So I can't get some of this out. At the very least. More sinus friendly. Side as well. Please, please. Alright. Just hope we got most of the horrors of the night out of here. Not going to be able to get to until we take the wheels off. That's alright. Should be a far cry better. Alright, we can move on to better cleaning and finer detail inside. I think we got most of the chunks and critters and stuff. Which is the whole point of this outside. So that's what we're dealing with on this one. Just to have a better idea where we're at. So let's get this cleaned up a little. Bring out some buckets and blend. It's cleaned up. Tools and bucket pieces. This will be much better. Come on. Alright, now I'll bring it back inside and we'll move on forward to the next step. More detail cleaning. I might give them a shower off. Now we don't have to worry about chunks of grass, critters, and gas and all that.